Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 1 of What If Naruto was the Uzumaki Phenix legacy. If you guys enjoyed this what if, and want to see part 2 of it, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. The first thing he felt upon becoming self-aware once again was pain. Excruciating pain. Sure, getting a hand coated in lightning shoved through his chest hurt too, but this was something else entirely. Every muscle and fiber in his body was screaming at him, making him wonder why he wasn't dead. There was only one thing, one single word, one single question in his mind at the moment. How? Break. Slowly but surely, the pain began to fade, and Naruto began to feel other sensations. The feel of the soft bed beneath his frame, and the plush pillows his head was laying against. The scent of the room, a mixture of feminine scents that pervaded his nostrils and soothed his mind and soul. Naruto knew that he was in a bedroom, a very comfortable one at that, something that he actually had never had in his life, no matter how many times he had tried to make his room as good as possible. Slowly, Naruto opened his eyes, and the first thing he saw was a ceiling with a very odd design, almost fancy in his opinion. Glancing around, Naruto realized that he was indeed in some kind of very luxurious bedroom, again with the strange designs that he had never seen before in his life. Even the furniture in this room, like tables, chairs, desks, were designed rather oddly. In addition, the bed that he was on was as large as the entire living room of his apartment. Naruto could see that he wasn't at home, or any kind of infirmary tent. "Naruto-sama, are you awake?" Naruto then heard a soft voice before he felt a pair of hands rest on his chest. Slowly, he turned his head and found himself looking at one of the most beautiful women he had ever seen in his life, a very beautiful woman with long, wavy purple hair that cascaded down her back like a silk curtain. At the front, the right side of her hair fell over her shoulder and covered her right eye, while the left side fell near the top of her skirt. Meanwhile, her attire was a dress consisting of a navy blue tunic top with gold accents and a pale blue skirt with open sides, and black shoes over matching thick-high stockings with garter belts. The top reveals much of her cleavage, which wasn't the most impressive he had ever seen, Tsunade, but was still a sight to behold, and was held with a gold choker with blue and red jewels. She also had a black headband with a red-orange jewel over her forehead to keep her long hair in place. There was another girl standing behind her. Another well-endowed young woman with shoulder-length black hair and blue-green eyes. Her hair had two buns, much like tentons on both sides of her head, while the front featured bangs that formed a slight V shape across her forehead. Her outfit consisted of a navy blue dress with gold accents, a white sash around her stomach, and black low-heeled shoes. The dress was open at the chest area, giving views to her breasts and cleavage. Who were these girls? Were they the ones who picked him up after his fight against Sasuke? Just what the hell was going on? And what's up with their clothes? What happened? Out of instinct, he couldn't help but ask out loud, with a weak voice. "You have Phoenix flu, Naruto-sama." You suddenly collapsed and fainted. The purple-haired girl then quickly added, taking back her hands, "But the doctor said you would be fine." "Phoenix flu?" Naruto asked. What kind of disease was that? He had never heard about a sickness like that before. Plus, he had never caught a flu before in his life before, so why now? Yes, she nodded her head before turning her head to her companion. "Shulin, can you inform the doctor that he woke up?" "Of course, Yubeluna." The girl nodded and hurriedly walked out of the room, probably to get the doctor, leaving the two of them in the room. After that, the purple-haired young woman, Yubeluna, turned back to Naruto and saw him struggling to sit up. She immediately put a hand under his head and another on his chest to support his body, before gently helping him up and grabbing a large pillow, putting it behind his back, so he could sit straight and rest his head against the wall. She smiled and gave him a cup of water, putting it gently against his lips. "Here you go, Naruto-sama." Naruto couldn't help but glance at Yubeluna. Was it normal for someone to address him so respectfully like that? "Thank you," he said, noticing the surprised expression on Yubeluna's face, but took a sip nonetheless. This was getting weirder and weirder by the second. Quickly gulping everything down, Naruto gave her his gratitude, and gave Yubeluna the empty cup, which she took with both hands, before turning around to put it on the table. It was then that Naruto decided to ask. Who are you?" "Ha? What are you saying, Naruto-sama?" Yubeluna asked in surprise. "It's me, your servant, Yubeluna." "I'm not sure what you are talking about, Yubeluna." Naruto shook his head and answered while scratching the back of his head, "But I don't remember having a servant. Plus, what is this place anyway?" He couldn't help but ask. "This is your house, the Phoenix residence." Yubeluna answered dutifully, with the same respectful tone, despite the look of surprise clearly on her face. "What in the living hell are you saying?" Naruto asked in confusion. "My house is," but his eyes widened when his nose caught the smell of something burning. The sleeve of the shirt he was wearing was burning. Actually, his entire right arm was burning. But it didn't hurt at all. What the hell? Naruto shot his other hand up and tried to put away the fire on his sleeve, but he was unable to do the same to his arm. "What is going on?" he asked, slowly losing his cool. "Naruto-sama," Yubeluna called out to him when Naruto stood up. She tried to reach out to him, but he stopped her. No, stay away. Don't come any closer. He told Yubaluna cautiously, making her step back, but the purple-haired woman still looked like she wanted to reach out for him. It was while he was trying to put away the fire wrapping around his arm that Naruto finally noticed something from the open windows on his left. It was a purple sky. What the break? He seems fine. A man in a white coat, a doctor said while moving the small flashlight from one of Naruto's eyes to the other, checking his pupils with a small flashlight before saying. Naruto was still sitting on his bed, but this time with more people surrounding him. Yubaluna and the blue-dressed girl, Shulin, were standing side by side with each other respectively behind a man with light-colored spiky hair, and a beautiful woman with blonde hair donned very high, with ornate hair decorations and dark blue eyes. He also noted that they were wearing very weird clothes. I don't think there is any problem with Naruto-sama. He didn't know that the underworld also had medical treatments. Naruto, how do you feel? The blonde woman asked with a motherly tone. Fine, I guess. He said, unsure of what to say. This woman was looking at him like a mother looking at her son. But the point was that he wasn't her son. One second he thought he was dead and got sent to the afterlife. The next second he was in so much pain for what felt like an eternity before waking up here, in a strange and unfamiliar place called the Phoenix Residence, full of people that he had never met before in his life, but they all knew him very well. Phoenix flu is very rare nowadays, as rare as dragon flu I think. We still don't know much about its side effects. But since he had a very high fever, I think he's suffering from a case of temporal memory loss. The doctor said as Yubaluna and Shulin gasped in shock. I think Naruto-sama should stay at home for a few days to rest, before he could continue his daily activities again. I will send you the list of the necessary bills for him later. I see, thank you, doctor. The woman smiled. Anything for the Phoenix household, Lady Phoenix. The white-cloaked man nodded his head and bowed before leaving the room. After he left, everyone's attention returned to Naruto, who could only respond to them with a look of confusion on his face. He didn't know what was going on. But one thing for certain. To them, he was not Naruto Uzumaki, he was Naruto Phenix. Naruto didn't know if it was nighttime or daytime because of the always purple sky outside of his room, and the fact that his room also didn't have a clock didn't help either, but at least he knew that it had been a day since his arrival, a reincarnation, or whatever that had happened to him. Even though he had come to terms with it, Naruto was still having trouble accepting that he might have been reborn into someone else or at the very least, taken their life. Another reason Naruto had been using to convince himself to see his current situation at a lighter view was that the Phoenix flu's fever had made him remember his past life, the life of a shinobi. He did die, after all, when Sasuke once again shoved his Chidori through his chest, and this, Naruto Phoenix, was his next life. Phoenix flu just happened to make him remember his old memories, at the same time erasing his current one, and return him to the person he had once been to be. But in the end, it's just one of the possibilities. Naruto kinda wished that it was the case though. Nonetheless, he felt fine. The doctor had also said this morning that his most recent blood test showed that he no longer had Phoenix flu virus in his system, but his parents, Lord and Lady Phoenix as they had been called, still believed that their son had to stay a bit longer on the bed and rest up for another week. Yubaluna, the woman who claimed to be his servant, made sure he had his pills every hour like the doctor had instructed. Shulin, the girl in that slit dress, also lent a hand whenever she could as well, bringing him the fanciest kinds of food from the mansion's kitchen. Some were made by the chef of the family, and some she made herself. Both of them seemed to care a lot for him, but Naruto had no idea how to think about it. It's not like Naruto wasn't enjoying the attention, he would be lying to himself if he felt that way. It's just that it was the first time in his life Naruto had seen such respectful behaviors, and it was toward him too. The blonde had heard from stories that rich and powerful people, like the fire daimyo for example, had servants like them to tend to their every need, but this was really something else entirely. Is there something on my face? Naruto couldn't help but ask Yubaluna, having noticed that she had been staring at him for a while now. Oh, no, of course not, Naruto-sama. Yubaluna shook her head and answered immediately, turning her full attention back to the apple in her hand, and starting to peel it with a knife. It's just, I have noticed you spacing out a lot lately, that's all. She said with a small smile. Shulin had left a few minutes ago to do her own thing, but she promised to return as soon as possible. I was just thinking I guess. Naruto answered before adding with his own question, is it really that strange? I don't think you have ever spaced out that often before, Naruto-sama. I see. Naruto chuckled. Can I ask you something, Yubaluna? Anything, Naruto-sama. Okay, so I noticed that we have a lot of servants and maids around here, but from what I can see, you and Shulin are closest to me, right? Yubaluna nodded her head in confirmation with a small smile. So what makes you so special to me then? Naruto asked, deciding that it's best for him to get to know those who were closest to him. He just couldn't play the memory loss card forever, if that was really the case. Learning about Naruto Phoenix's closest people would probably help Naruto learn more about himself. Plus, Yubaluna cared about him a lot, so it was normal for him to get to know her more. It is because I'm your queen, Naruto-sama. Yubaluna said proudly, making Naruto raise an eyebrow in confusion and curiosity. Queen? Yes, Naruto-sama. Yubaluna answered patiently as she put a hand on her chest and continued. I was once a human, a magician to be precise, but you saw the potential in me, and decided to reincarnate me into your servant with the Queen Evil Peace. You my master and every wish of yours is my command, fulfilling your needs is my greatest desire. You order me to jump then I will simply jump, you tell me to. I think I get it, Yubaluna. Naruto held up his hands to stop her while chuckling nervously. That was kinda extreme, if he was honest to himself. What is this Queen Evil Peace that you mentioned? Here, Naruto-sama. The queen then stood up and walked to the drawer next to his bed, and took out a medium-sized silver box, before she walked back to his side, sitting down next to him on his bed before continuing. These are your evil pieces, Naruto-sama. She handed the box to him with both hands, and the moment he touched it, the lock faded away. The box is magically locked. It can only be opened by your hands, Naruto-sama, the queen explained. I see, Naruto answered, as he opened the box and saw several golden pieces inside the box, some of which came in a full set, but there were also empty spots that made Naruto realize that he had used 3 of them. So these things can be used to turn humans into devils? Naruto asked in interest, picking up the pawn piece. It appeared that with 3 empty spots missing, Yubaluna and Shulin weren't his only servants. Yes, Naruto-sama, not just human but even yokai or fallen angels can be turned as well. Naruto became even more confused at that, but he knew he could do some research about the world later. Also, they're not going to be pure-blood devils like you. Yubaluna nodded her head. The rule of the evil pieces is just like a chess game, each piece has its own attribute. Shulin is the rook, so she has enhanced physical strength and endurance. Carloman, your knight, possesses superhuman speed and is heavily skilled in swordsmanship. She went to visit her parents a few days ago so she isn't here at the moment, but she will return this evening. Yubaluna then pointed to the bishop pieces and continued with the explanation. This is bishop. Devils reincarnated with bishop pieces will gain enhanced magical abilities which they can use to conjure up a multitude of spells. Spell? Naruto believed he just learned the way this world works. I'm the queen, possess all the characteristics of all the pieces, with the exception of the pawn pieces, which can promote themselves into any other pieces but the queen. I see, Naruto nodded his head. That was so confusing, but Naruto believed he was able to grab the basics of it. Yubaluna's explanation was very easy to understand. Are you satisfied with being my servant, Yubaluna? The blonde then asked the questions he had been wondering from the moment he realized that Yubaluna and Shulin was his servant specifically. I didn't force you or anything like that, did I? I was more than willing to become your servant. You made me a queen, your woman, and love me like the woman I am. Yubaluna said, I can never ask for more. Oh, okay then. Naruto nodded his head while chuckling nervously. It appeared that Naruto Phoenix had really abused the power that he had over Yubaluna. What about Shulin and this Carloman? He saved Shulin's life, Naruto-sama. The bomb queen answered dutifully. She came from a family of martial artists, but they were massacred by the rival dojo. Shulin was killed as well, but you brought her back with the rook evil piece. Okay, so I do have some decencies. Naruto thought sarcastically. What about Carloman? She was trained to become your knight, Naruto-sama. The former Uzumaki nodded his head in understanding. Both of them swore to serve you with their life. She and Shulin love you just as much as I do. So basically, he was in a 4-way relationship with 3 girls at the same time. Who did he become? An even worse version of Sasuke. Is there anything I should know about? He asked, glancing at the queen. Yubaluna became deep in thought before saying, oh, one of your dreams is to have an all-female peerage at your personal harem. Naruto could only give her the what the heck look. He felt bad for Yubaluna, as well as Shulin and Carloman now. That's how bad was Naruto Phoenix as a person. Break. I'm so sorry for not being there for you, Naruto-sama. Cried a young woman with brown hair, green eyes and dressed in an armor with black accents that appeared to be a cross between an European knight and Japanese samurai. She wore a headband that goes across her hair and forehead, and her armor was also equipped with a sword and a dagger. Naruto knew that this was Kalarmin, the 3rd servant of his and the knight of his group. At the moment, Carloman was currently bowing in front of Naruto, so low her forehead was touching the ground. I tried to return as soon as possible, but hey, it's alright. Naruto said and kneeled down in front of her, lifting her body up with his hand on the shoulder. Stand up, there is no need for you to bow like that. Naruto-sama, I heard you have amnesia. Yeah, I pretty much forgot everything. He said while scratching the back of his head before he gestured his hand to Yubaluna, who had been standing at his side the whole time. But don't worry, Yubaluna has been filling me in on the details. I am sure that I will manage to catch up soon enough, he said, beaming to his queen standing side by side with Shulin. To keep out wearing girls. So, how did it go with your parents? Everything went fine, Naruto-sama. Though they told me to find a boyfriend. Carloman pouted before smiling at him, but my heart is for you only, Naruto-sama. She spoke gratefully with a hand on her left chest. Thank you. Naruto could only say before quickly changing the topic. Anyway girls, would you like to accompany me around the house? I kinda forgot the way around here as well. Of course, Naruto-sama. Yubaluna nodded her head along with his rook and knight. After confirming that he had fully recovered, the doctor had spoken to Lord and Lady Phoenix, and they had finally allowed him to come out of his room and do whatever he wanted to do. His amnesia was a constant problem, but Naruto managed to convince them with the help of his servants, telling them that he would be fine with his loyal Yubaluna and the others, providing him the necessary information. There was no word to describe the beauty of Phoenix residence, which consisted of the main mansion with a tall castle-like building in the background, surrounded by multiple towers with flames protruding around and at the top. The front tower was embedded with the emblem of a phoenix, which Naruto had been told to be the symbol of their family and the source of their firepower. There were also leafless trees that had tiny flames protruding from the tips. At the entrance was a huge golden statue of a phoenix in the middle of a fountain of fire, and at the sides, there were poles with small flames coming out on top, and also archway structures similar to an aqueduct that also have flames sprouting at the top. The interior of the castle, meanwhile, had a red color theme blended with matching colors. The entryway had a white, square tile floor with large red tiles to the sides, with the phoenix emblem embedded. To the sides of the entryway floor were large gaps with huge flames spreading out, more poles of fire, and elevated platforms with grass and goblets of fire. To say that he was shocked when he heard how rich and powerful the phoenix was an understatement. Considering that he used to be an orphan who lived in a rundown apartment, this was like a massive step in life. Oni-sama, a girl suddenly appeared from the room to his right when Naruto was walking through the corridor on the third floor. She was a cute young girl with dark blue eyes, long blonde hair tied into twin tails with large drill-like curls and blue ribbons keeping them in place. The front of her hair had several bangs hanging over her forehead, with a V-shaped fringe hanging over the bridge of her nose. She was wearing a long pink dress with white frills and a magenta bow in the front, as well as 3 feather-like extensions, mimicking a bird's tail protruding from the dress. This girl was Ravel Phoenix, his younger sister who was about 11-year-old. Among his siblings, she had come to visit him last after returning from school, but left quickly after giving him a slice of cake, which had been very delicious, and she even made it herself. During his short interactions with her, Naruto had realized that Ravel more or less had a bossy attitude, stubborn and was very mature for her age, but she had a good heart and the most lovely sister he could have. Having grown up alone, Naruto always wished for a sibling when he was younger. Now he had 2 older brothers and a sister. The good brother should never forget his own family, even with amnesia. That was what she said before leaving with a huff. "Oh, good afternoon, Ravel. How are you doing today?" Naruto greeted her with a smile. "I'm doing fine, Oni-sama." The small girl nodded her head. "What are you doing?" "Just wandering around the house." He answered, "What about you?" He immediately got his answer, when a beautiful and attractive woman with black hair and big brown eyes appeared next to Ravel. The woman was wearing a business suit that hugged her voluptuous body tightly, showing off her impressive curves. The blonde couldn't help but notice that there were a lot of beautiful and attractive women around. Seeing Naruto, a smile appeared on her face, and she then bowed her head respectfully to him. "Good afternoon, Naruto Dono." "Hey, Yubaluna immediately came close to him and whispered a few words into his ears. "Ellie-san, how are you?" Her name was Ellis, and she was Ravel's personal tutor. "I'm fine, thank you, Naruto Dono." Ellis nodded her head gratefully with a smile. "I heard you were sick, Naruto Dono. I hope you're alright now." "Of course." Naruto grinned. "I'm glad." Ellis smiled brightly before turning her head to Ravel. "Ravel-sama, I hope you will do well with today's homework as well." "Of course, Ellis." Ravel nodded her head confidently before saying, "You can go now. It's time for me to leave. See you tomorrow, Ravel-sama." Ellis bowed her head and turned to Naruto. "You as well, Naruto-sama." With that said, she left. What a surprise. "You didn't try to flirt with Ellis this time, Oni-sama," the girl said with a slight mock in her tone, but she looked rather satisfied before telling him, "I will see you at dinner." Oni-sama. Ravel then returned to her room and closed the door behind her without another word. The trip continued after that, with Ravel's words bugging him along the way, so Naruto couldn't help but ask his queen, "Hey Yubaluna, is there anything I should know about Ravel's tutor?" "Oh, you slept with her quite often, Naruto-sama." Naruto almost tripped over his own foot and fell on his face. Just exactly how many differences between the two of them. Break. The next day, Naruto found himself standing in the garden of the Phoenix residence, looking at the orange Rasengan in his left hand and the fire around his right hand. He had come to a few conclusions, and one of them being he had not completely replaced Naruto Phoenix, or he was no longer Naruto Uzumaki. More like, he had become one with his other self. Why and how? He had no idea, but one thing he knew for sure, he still had his chakra and full control over it. Sanin-moto of course wasn't a problem, and he still had access to Kurama's chakra even without his permission. This also made him worry about Kurama's condition, when he found himself completely blocked away from his mindscape. More or less, the Uzumaki part was still there, but at the same time, he was also Naruto Phoenix, or else his right hand wouldn't grow back right after he blew it right off of his elbow. It was the stupidest, but easiest way to test his immortality. Last night, Naruto had found a book about his clan in the family's library, and spent the next 2 hours reading and learning everything he needed to survive in this new world. He had learnt that the members of Phoenix Devil Clan had inherent powers that were equivalent to that of the legendary creature, the Firebird Phoenix, but overall they were still devils. Pureblood and high-class devils. The most extraordinary thing he had seen so far about the Phoenix was their tears, called Phoenix Tears, a liquid that can instantly heal injuries. Naruto made the Rasengan and fire disappear walking back into his home. Powers-wise he was both Phoenix and Uzumaki now, but in personalities, well, it's best that he left the playboy douchebag part behind, and moved on to become someone better, someone who deserved everything that had been given to him. Break. Naruto-sama, what are you going to do with them? Ibaluna asked in confusion when she saw Naruto coming out of the storage room located behind Phoenix residence, while carrying 2 training dummies in his arms, having decided that he needed to train hard to perfect his control over his Phoenix abilities. It had been 5 days since the day their master had Phoenix flu and ended up losing his memories because of the fever, and Ibaluna were currently standing with Shulin and Carloman, who were feeling the same thing as she was, confused by the sight of their master with training dummies, something they had never seen before since the day they became his servants. Training, of course, what else am I going to do with them? Naruto couldn't help but ask, making the girls look at him in absolute shock. You girls should come train with me too. It will be fun. What? But Naruto-sama, you're already incredibly strong, we should be the one who needs to get stronger. Shulin shook her head and stepped forward, let me carry them for you. Don't worry, Shulin. Naruto gave her a smile as he walked on ahead, and no, I think I should train too. Training is important if I want to get even stronger. Who knows, maybe the reason I got sick was because I had never trained before. From their expressions, he could immediately tell that his parallel counterpart paid little to no attention to training. But the girls could only look at each other in confusion. Never in a million years that they would expect their master Naruto Phoenix to say those words to them. Like his family and the other servants of the House of Phoenix, they had also noticed many changes from their master. From a top-notch player who loved to surround himself in fame, attention and women, he had become a kind and noble, humble and sometimes funny person, just like his eldest brother rival Phoenix. Over the past few days, Naruto had started to spend even more time with the 3 of them, and no time at all with the other women. Whenever he wasn't reading books and asking around to fill the gaps in his memories, he would talk to them and get closer to them, something he had never tried to do before. A few minutes later, Naruto stood in a training area not far from his home, and began to go through with the basics of training. So far, his shinobi powers were mostly the same, but as it had been stated, the blonde believed that he needed to work on his new powers, as well as raw strength. Devil's physical strength was impressive, but Naruto Phoenix's strength and stamina was nowhere near his level. And so, for the next 2 hours, Naruto started training his body with some serious workouts. It was pretty normal at the first hour. He did all of the regular exercises, like push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, pull-ups, squats and the like, doing over and over until he reached his limit and then more. Even though he was breathing hard and shirt became wet with sweat, he still kept on going. Naruto-sama, Carloman called out and was about to stand up to stop him, but Ibaluna grabbed her hand, stopping the knight with a shake of her head. The brown-haired swordswoman bit her lips and returned to her spot. After Naruto was done with his exercises, he headed to the training dummies and started testing his punches and kicks on them. It was rather boring, so Naruto decided to move on. Shulin. Naruto turned around and called for his rook, who was surprised when he called her name. Would you like to spar with me? He offered with a wide grin. If he remembered correctly, Shulin was a strong melee fighter, so having her spar with him would be a good idea. I'm not sure I can, the rook said, unsure of how to respond. Come on, don't be shy. Naruto took the towel from Ibaluna's hands and wiped the sweats away, removing his wetted shirt and changing it with something more comfortable, motioning his hand for Shulin to come over. Without any other choice, the girl stood up and walked to stand a few feet in front of him. Please, take it easy on me, she said and bowed her head to Naruto. Shouldn't I be the one who makes that request? Naruto asked with a smile and got in a normal stance with his fists raised. You can start now. Hi. And with that, Shulin charged at him, and when she was close enough, she leaped forward into the air and shot down with her right foot aiming at his abdomen. Naruto smiled and moved his body out of the way to dodge, grabbing her ankle when it was at his chest level, and pulled her down to the ground faster than she intended to. Naruto made his first attack by thrusting his elbow to the left side of her face, but Shulin blocked it with her palm before turning around, and delivered a very fast kick to his shoulder, which, once again he caught easily. You're amazing, Naruto-sama, Shulin said in amazement. Naruto, however, noticed something and almost flinched because of it. Whoa, why are you wearing underwear? The blonde couldn't help but ask as he released Shulin's ankle, and let her lower her foot down. The navy blue dress, the white sash, black shoes and arm guards were the only things she was wearing on her body. It was easy to tell she wasn't wearing a bra, but thanks to the wide slit of her dress, he had seen that she also wasn't wearing panties. But you were the one who told me to not wear them, Naruto-sama. Shulin answered him, in a very casual manner. Let's forget that order, shall we? Naruto told her, and Shulin lowered her head to him before her other leg shot up and aimed for his head again. And so for the next few minutes, Naruto sparred with Shulin, noticing that her fighting style revolved around kicking more than punching, but she did know how to use her fists for the surprise moment. He was no Guy or Lee, some of the best taijutsu fighters he had ever known, but Shulin could be on a league of her own with her great techniques and flexibility. "You are quite amazing, Shulin," Naruto said as he blocked her kick and returned with one of his own, making the rook smile radiantly at the praise he had given her. "But let's kick this up to another level. Let's get strong together." "Hi." Shulin nodded her head and used all of her strength to free herself from his lock and pushed Naruto back. "Please take good care of me from now on." "You bet I will." Naruto gave her a smile before turning to Yubaluna and Carloman. "Are you two just going to sit there forever?" The two looked at each other before smiling at him. They were, after all, waiting for their master to ask them that. Later that day, "I'm glad that you can join us, Naruto." Lady Phoenix, Raven Phoenix said with a smile when she saw her son Naruto entering the room with his servants following closely behind him. Lord Phoenix, as usual, was sitting at the top of the table with his wife on his right and Ruvel, Naruto's eldest brother, and also the next heir of Phoenix household, on his left. There was an empty seat between Ravel and their mother. It belonged to the second oldest child of the Phoenix clan, Ren. "I take that Rinai-san isn't going to have dinner with us tonight as well." It had already become a normal thing, so Naruto didn't ask too much about it. His second older brother was one of the bosses of a very large media company at the underworld, so he's busy almost all the time. "Yes, Naruto, he will be having dinner with a business partner tonight." Lord Phoenix nodded his head. Soon, dinner was served and the food was absolutely delicious. As always, Naruto would prefer ramen, and he was actually really glad that the love for ramen was something he and Naruto Phoenix had in common, but unfortunately, his mother didn't want him to eat it too often, and had told the kitchen not to listen to him whenever he came to demand a bowl of ramen. "So Naruto?" Ruvel suddenly asked, looking interested. "What have you been doing today?" "Oh, just training." His answer made Ruvel choke on his food, forcing him to grab a cup of water to force it down. "What?" Naruto then asked. Around the table everyone was looking at him with the same expression the girls gave him this morning. They were all shocked. "Training? Are you serious?" Ruvel turned to his brother's queen Yubaluna. "Is he telling the truth?" "Yes, Ruvel-sama. Naruto-sama has been training all day with the two of us," the queen said with a respectful tone. "But you hated training Narutani-sama?" Ravel asked in disbelief before as he turned over to her brother. "Not anymore, Ravel." Naruto grinned, giving his sister a thumbs up and a nice guy grin. "Wow, I mean, that's quite shocking, little brother." "Shocking, but not unwelcoming," Ruvel finally said, making Naruto smile at him. "Don't get me wrong, bro, but now I really hope that you will lose your memories forever. I really like you as you are now. If I didn't know any better, I would ask who you are and what have you done to my poor attitude brother." Ruvel looked like he wanted to use a bolder word, but seeing that their mother was listening to their conversation, he decided to use lesser ones instead. "Ruvel, I don't think it's because of amnesia." Lord Phoenix spoke up with a warm tone as he smiled proudly at his son. Like his wife, he had noticed the changes in Naruto, and he couldn't help but like it just like Ruvel did. "I believe it's because of maturity. Our Naruto's finally growing up like how we used to want him to. Isn't that right, dear?" "Yes, Rias will love the man that you are now, Naruto." Raven smiled warmly at him before she continued. "Oh, speaking of whom, I have something to tell you too, Naruto. We're going to have dinner with the Gremory tomorrow, so make sure to settle your personal issue before 6, alright?" Naruto nodded his head in understanding, having learned that the Gremory was the house that produced the current Lucifer, one of the current 4 great demon king of Devil faction. "Alright mom, I will make sure to be there on time." Naruto nodded with a smile. "Will Ryusama be there as well, Kasama?" Ravel asked. "Yes, Ravel, the dinner's main purpose is to bring Naruto and Rias closer after all." Naruto couldn't help but look at his mother in surprise, but decided to keep his mouth shut for the rest of the meal. He could ask Yubaluna later. After dinner, "Okay Yubaluna," Naruto turned to his queen when the two of them entered his room. "What is this whole deal of bringing me and Ria's Gremory closer?" He removed his shoes and sat down on his bed. "Oh, Ryusama is your fiancé, Naruto-sama," Yubaluna explained, and Naruto dropped his jaw in surprise. He knew what the word fiancé meant. "You two were engaged by your families a few years ago. But, isn't that forced marriage?" Naruto asked in disbelief. "You're okay with the marriage? Why am I not surprised?" Naruto replied sarcastically. "You really love the idea of marrying Ria's Gremory. You're the one who said the two of you are going to get married when she is 18-year-old. Naruto stared at Yubaluna for a moment before asking again. "What about Rias?" "Unlike you, it seems she has been opposing it rather openly as well." Yubaluna answered him in a calm tone, before adding after a pause as if she didn't want him to know, "And she really hates you." "I think I can understand why." Naruto scoffed. Who wouldn't hate him, a douchebag womanizer playboy who only cared for himself and little to the others, looking down on the weaker and the lower class devils, especially the girl who was supposed to be his wife in the future. Ryu's had every right to oppose this marriage. It is also for the sake of uniting Gremory and Phoenix together, Naruto-sama. Yubaluna explained. What about you girls? As long as you're happy, we're happy. Yubaluna said with a smile and a hand on her chest. More problems to think about, just great. It was the morning a week after his arrival and Naruto was alone in his room, sitting at his table with a pen in his hand, with a book and a notebook sitting on the table in front of him. Yubaluna, Shulin and Carloman had already gone to work earlier that morning on their regular devil jobs, but they would return soon in a few hours. Even though they had wanted to stay by his side all the time, Naruto had managed to convince them nothing would go wrong, and he was more than capable of taking care of himself for a couple of hours without them. Oni-sama, Rival Phoenix called out to him as she slightly opened the door of his room and poked her head in. Valor Vapula-sama is here to see you. She informed him with a smile, though Naruto could hear some distastefulness in her tone when she spoke the name of his visitor out loud. Oh, I see. Naruto nodded his head as he turned around to look at his sister. He had no idea who this Valor Vapula was, but he did have the last name of one of the remaining households of the original 72 pillars. A week was more than enough for Naruto to remember everything he needed to survive in this world. He had learned its history, the way the governments worked. He had even read some mythologies to understand more about the worlds around him in humans' point of view. But it would take him a lot more to fully adapt to his new life. Being Naruto Phoenix was really hard, trying to make his new personality believable to others was even harder. What are you doing, Oni-sama? Ravel asked curiously as she moved into his room and walked toward him. She looked at his notebook and saw a drawing of circles and arrows, appearing to be some kind of tactic formation of a battle between two groups. She then turned her eyes to the book and recognized it almost instantly. It was the recorded book of every single rating game match in the last 2 years, including many matches of Daihatsu Belial, the current rating games champion, ranking #1 rating game. Isn't it too soon for you, Oni-sama? He was still young, and his peerage only had 3 members, so everyone thought Naruto wasn't ready for this game yet. Well yeah, but it won't hurt if I do some research about the game firsthand, right? Naruto asked and Ravel nodded her head. It's a very interesting game, I must say. I am trying to imagine what Belial did, as well as his strategy in the match against Roygun Belphegor, at the final match of the rating game championship. The author didn't tell much, so I didn't know if I got it right. Ravel nodded her head again before turning her eyes to the formation in his notebook, appearing to be deep in thought for a second before saying, You know, Oni-sama, you actually got everything right. Ravel told him Belial-sama's power worthlessness can nullify the abilities of people or objects. Since most members of Belphegor-sama's peerage are changed every rating game, by trading his servants with family members or other pureblood devils, it's very hard for his opponent to predict the powers of the new servants, and prepare for them. But with this tactic formation, it gave Belial-sama enough times to study the new member's strength and power, in order to use his power to its fullest potential so the match was the moment he learned the new member's strength. Naruto nodded his head before turning his head to Ravel, looking at Ravel in amusement. Wow, you are very smart, Ravel. He praised. Despite her young age, Ravel had proved time to time to be a very intelligent and perceptive young girl, which was rare even in his world, unless those children were Nar, but that was a different story. She noticed and understood mostly everything, even the atmosphere between a group of people, and what a child her age shouldn't be able to understand. Well, you see, Oni-sama, Ravel's cheeks reddened a little at his praise. I watched that match with you, remember? It wasn't a lie, she had actually watched that match with him a few years ago. She also studied rating game more than what she was taught at school. She wasn't as good as her older brothers, but she had a lot of knowledge about the rules and strategies, even coming to win many mock rating game matches at school against her classmates. I see. Naruto grinned before closing his book and notebook, and stood up from his seat. Well, we should let this Valor wait any longer. Want to come with me, Ravel? He asked and motioned his head for her to follow him. Of course, Oni-sama. Ravel nodded her head before following her brother out of his room. Line break. Yo Naruto, my man, how are you doing? A handsome, well-built young man about his age, with shoulder-length brown hair and matching eyes, greeted him cheerfully the moment Naruto and his sister arrived at their house's living room. Naruto was a little taken aback by his cheerful attitude, but composed himself and noted that he, Valor Vapula, must be his best friends or someone like that, from the way he was addressing the reincarnated shinobi. And hello to you two again, Ravel. Hey. Was the only thing Naruto could say to greet the Valor, while Ravel, who was standing next to him, bowed her head respectfully at the future head of Vapula household. Though, his attention soon turned to the fourth person, a young woman standing behind Valor, trying to make herself as small as possible, like she didn't want to be noticed by any of them. The girl, she was a beautiful and attractive young woman with a voluptuous figure, long black hair with split bangs, and hazel gold eyes with cat-like pupils. Their most noticeable feature being the 2 large black cat ears lying flat on top of her head, and 2 black tails poking out underneath of her attire, which consisted of a black kimono, a yellow obi, a set of golden beads, and an ornately detailed headband. The kimono featured a red interior, and it was open at her shoulders, giving view to her enormously large breasts, which far surpassed Ubaluna in terms of size. The moment Naruto laid his eyes on her, Naruto couldn't help but wonder why there was something so beautiful, yet looked so sad like that. She was masking her sadness rather well, keeping a rather blank face while running her hands through the long bangs of her hair. "What's up to Naruto?" Valor noticed the way Naruto was looking at a black-haired girl and smirked in amusement. "So you noticed her, huh? That is my new servant, Kuroka, Inekashu Nekamata. She consumed 2 bishop pieces." He then turned around and gestured for the girl to come over, which she did without a word. Her sadness disappeared, as if it had never been there. "Oi, greet him, will you?" Valor scolded and pushed her head roughly, forcing the girl to bend her back in a deep bow. "Hey, don't do that." Almost instantly, Naruto's hand shot out and grabbed the man by his wrist, pulling his hand away from her head. "What the hell, man?" Valor asked in surprise, a little taken aback by Naruto's action. "She is just a servant," he pointed out. "Kuroka being a servant doesn't mean that you can treat her like that," Naruto said and released Valor's wrist roughly before turning to Kuroka, who was staring at him with curiosity in her eyes. "Hello, I'm Naruto Phenix." He politely introduced himself. "I know, NYA. She said with a small smile. "It's an honor to finally meet you, Naruto-sama." Before Naruto could say anything to the beautiful cat girl, Valor grabbed him by the shoulders and pulled him to the other side of the room. "What now?" Naruto asked in annoyance. At first, Naruto thought Valor would be a cool guy with that kind of attitude, and he could finally have a male friend to hang around with in this world. But after seeing the way he treated his servant, his fondness completely disappeared and replaced with annoyance, as well as some anger. "What the hell is wrong with you, man?" Valor asked in wonder. "Your sister said you had lost your memories because of Phoenix flu, but I didn't know that it was this bad." "Seriously, are you okay, man?" "I'm perfectly fine, Valor, thank you very much." Naruto replied blankly before asking, "Exactly what you're doing here anyway? I doubt that you're here to show off your new servant, aren't you?" "It's exactly what I am trying to do, Naruto." Valor patted him on his shoulder, pointing his hand at Kuroka. "Look at her, isn't she a fine work of art? She might be even sexier than your queen, Naruto." The man then continued before Naruto could say anything. "Oh, don't ever think about asking me for a trade. She is a rare item, and too valuable to me to put into a trade, even with my best friend." "An item?" Naruto asked in disbelief before waving his hand around while walking away, scolding slightly under his breath. "Forget it, I'm done with this conversation." To think the two of them were best friends. Not anymore, though. Naruto also took a mental note about asking Yuba Luna to recheck his list of friends, so that he could see who was okay to be put in his new list, and who was not. "Boy, wait for a second there, Firebird." Vala quickly caught up to him. "Okay, I'm sorry, alright. I shouldn't talk about Kuroka like that." He then stopped in front of Naruto, holding his hand out to stop him. "Wait a minute, I know what you are trying to do. You want to impress Kuroka with a nice guy attitude, right?" He then walked to Kuroka, grabbed her by her arm and pushed her toward Naruto. "You want her? There, I could let you have Kuroka for a few hours. Do whatever you want with her, pal, but remember that she is mine." He then turned to his sister and picked Ravel up, quickly heading out of the room before Naruto could protest. "Hey!" Ravel cried out. Protest was the last thing Naruto heard from his sister before the door was closed. What the hell is wrong with that guy? Naruto wondered out loud. He didn't even let Naruto have the chance to voice up his opinion. "He is always like that." NYA. Kuroka spoke up next to him. "Cannot help but wonder why I befriend someone like that in the first place," Naruto said, crossing his arms on his chest. "I guess it was because I was also an asshole back then." The more he learned about himself in the past, the worse it became. Truly, asshole or douchebag were some huge understatements. "You're not so bad, considering all the things I have heard about you from the others." Naruto-sama. NYA. Kuroka tilted her head to the side to look at his face. "Unless my master is telling the truth, you're just pretending to be a nice person to seduce the girl. I know my charm, but there is no way I am going to do that just to make an impression." Naruto shook his head, making Kuroka smile. In some situations maybe, since he was a shinobi, the art of acting was very important. "So, what can I do for you, Naruto-sama?" Kuroka asked as she moved a little closer to him. "Hope you don't mind a low-class devil like me as your companion." "Well, you can start telling me about yourself, Kuroka." Naruto stepped back and leant against the lawn. "Of course I'm not trying to hit on you or anything." Both of them laughed softly at that. "You seem too nice to choose a master. We treat you like a lowly item." Unless Kuroka had been dead before Valor brought her back using the evil pieces system, but Naruto doubted the guy could be that kind. "Well, first as you can see, NYA, I am a Nekamata Yaokai, Inekashu to be specific. NYA. She put her hands on her cat ears and moved it around. "And I have a sister too, Naruto-sama. She is about your sister's age. Our mother died after giving birth to Shirne, so I have taken care of her on my own ever since." "I'm sorry to hear that." "Don't worry, Naruto-sama." Kuroka shook her head with a smile. "We're poor, yes, but we're happy together. I try everything I could to raise her just like how Ka-chan raised me, but, well, sometime the world isn't that pink." Kuroka trailed off and Naruto knew instantly she might have done many awful things in the past, just to pay for her sister's meals. Last week, Shirane was sick and I tried to take her to the local hospital for medical treatments, but I didn't have that kind of money to pay the fee. I thought about robbing or stealing, but before I could do anything, Valor-sama appeared. He offered to help her in exchange for your servitude, didn't he? Naruto asked. Now, this was getting suspicious. Naruto thought to himself, Valor didn't appear to be a philanthropist. He couldn't just randomly appear and offer his help to Kuroka like that. Yes, Naruto-sama, not only that, but he also promised to give us a home to live in as well. Kuroka nodded her head. As long as I serve him, Shirane will have a normal life. She can go to school, have many friends, grow up without knowing that her sister basically sold her soul and body to a devil for some money. Naruto put his hand on her shoulder comfortingly. I don't want it, but for her sake, I can do anything. I see. Naruto smiled at her. Is there anything I can do to help you, Kuroka? Well, unless you manage to convince Valor-sama for a trade. I doubt it. Kuroka giggled. You're not that bad for a master. I wouldn't mind serving someone like you. She made a gesture with her hand to his chest, like a cat crawling her master with her paws like he said, I'm too valuable to put in a trade. In the past week, I have seen girls like me come and leave, so Valor-sama can make a stronger peerage. Many young devils asked him to trade me with their servants, but he refused and decided to keep me around all the time. She then tilted her head to the side. Should I feel happy about it? I'm so popular. She joked playfully. Well, I bet you are. Naruto smiled. Even if you said it like that, I'm sure that I can make your life easier. You know how rich my family is. Wasn't boasting or anything, but that was only the truth. If you need anything, Kuroka, you know where to find me. I see, thank you. Naruto-sama. Kuroka bowed her head a little to him. You know, when you said things you heard about me, what were they anyway? He asked. Well, there are a lot of them, like, you see. Something like, you're a playboy who loves to fool around with women. Naruto nodded his head. It was something he already knew. You and Valor-sama often go to nightclubs together and spend the whole night there, doing some naughty businesses with the strippers. He nodded again with a blank face. That was new, and just like Valor-sama, you look down on commoners and low-class devils, like me. Kuroka stopped when Naruto raised his hand. Not anymore. Naruto said blankly, making Kuroka look at him for a second before nodding her head. I see that you aren't lying, Naruto-sama. Kuroka smiled at him. Why the changes? I thought rich and powerful devils like you love to live a life like that. Amnesia. I got a flu last week. My brain was scrambled and I lost my memories. That bad? Kuroka asked in surprise before giggling. Then I hope you will lose your memories forever. You sound like my brother, you know. Naruto gave her a playful look. I'm a woman, Naruto-sama. If Kuroka ever needed his help, then he would do anything in his power to help her. Line break. Naruto wasn't very comfortable in the formal attire he was wearing, which consisted of a white dress shirt, a burgundy blazer with gold embroidery on the right with matching pants. Naruto had never been a guy for fancy clothes, but he was living in a different kind of society. Wrong dress code in occasions like this could be an act of disrespectfulness to the other family, which was also one of the highest rank high-class household. Though, it was nowhere near as uncomfortable as his current situation. He was about to meet his fiancée, who disliked him to her heart content. Relax, Naruto-sama. Ryu-sama is probably happy to see you again. Yubaluna spoke up from his left. Naruto and his girls were currently on the way to Gremory residence. Since this was a special occasion between two families, his family had decided to use chariots for transportation, instead of teleportation spell like usual. You're not helping, Luna. Naruto told her, knowing that Yubaluna was only trying to make things less uncomfortable for him. There is really no way for us to cancel this marriage engagement. Both families wouldn't be happy about it. Naruto-sama. Carloman shook her head. It is also for the sake of Devil faction's future, Naruto-sama. In the previous war, a lot of purebloods devil gave their lives for it. It is only natural for the pureblooded devils to protect the blood in the household by joining together. An offspring successor from two high-ranking pureblooded devils is extremely valuable. In order to keep households of purebloods standing in this day, new blood is essential as well, but we can't be having pureblooded devils cut off as a result. No offense to you, Carloman, but that is some nonsense things right there. That is your speech, Naruto-sama. When your parent asks what do you think about the future of devil faction and marriage between two high-class devils. The night set and Naruto nearly face-palmed. Well, I changed my mind now. Naruto said, not that I don't agree with it, but what will happen if the boy and girl don't love each other? Maybe if he could come to love Ria's Gremory later, then it wasn't going to be a problem. But that girl outright disliked him, and Naruto had already had 3 girls who loved him unconditionally. He had already learned that harem wasn't something uncommon for devils. Even his father had a harem of a dozen beautiful women which his mother managed. The feeling of love should be for one specific person only. 2 or 3 he could manage, but 4 or maybe more. Maybe not. Naruto-sama, I heard that you met Valor Vapulous-sama today. How did your meeting go? Yubaluna asked. She had decided to change the topic to make it more comfortable to him. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the way Yubaluna was talking, just like how Ravel was when she informed him about his arrival. Usually, his queen was very respectful, especially to him and the higher class devils. It was the first time he heard her talk about someone with that kind of status in that tone. It went well. But can I ask why everyone disliked him so much? First, Ravel, now you three. The purple-haired queen turned her head to look at the other two, sending them a meaningful look before sighing gently. Naruto-sama, well, it's not our place to tell you who you should or shouldn't befriend. We don't like Valor Vapula-sama and don't want you to get involved with him. Yubaluna said, he claims to be your best friend, but we know that he is very jealous of you and your family's immortality, Naruto-sama. And aside from hanging around with each other very often, the two of you always have meetings to show off each other's servants, whenever you have new ones, Shulin said, looking uncomfortable to see if you or he want to trade us to each other, or not. She trailed off. Now that is disgusting. Naruto said blankly before smiling at them. Girls, let me make this clear to you. You girls are not items, you're all precious people to me. I won't and will never trade you away. He said matter of fact, no matter what happens. Thank you, master. The girls smiled gratefully and lowered their head a little, feeling their heart warming up by his speech. Oh, we've arrived, Naruto-sama. Shulin informed them after observing their surrounding through the window. The chariot was stopped a few seconds later, and the driver opened the door for them. Naruto joined his family, walking ahead with his peerage following closely behind him. Gremory residence looked just as impressive as his house. The mansion looked like a castle more than a modern palace, surrounded by a massive garden with various kinds of plant, tree lines, paved roads with carefully pruned trees and beautiful flowers. The path stretched straight ahead, leading to a modeled fountain in the middle of the garden, a few feet in front of the mansion, with crystal clear water flowed out from it, and, dramatically enough, birds of various colors flew above. That's the main residence of one of their palaces. Lord Phoenix reminded him, knowing that his son didn't remember anything about his fiancée's house. I see. Naruto nodded his head and followed after his parent toward the castle. There, they were greeted by the maids and butlers wearing the crest of Gremory household on their uniform, stood in line on both sides of them, and made a path with a red carpet stretched out towards the front gate of the huge castle. Welcome to the Gremory reside, Lord and Lady Phoenix. Greeted a breathtakingly beautiful maid, distinctly different than the other servants. She had silver hair, which flowed all the way down to her back, featuring a long braid on each side with small blue bows at the ends, while the rest was let down, ending in twin braids and matching color eyes. The maid was wearing a blue and white French maid outfit with long sleeves and a white maid headband over her head, with red lipstick as a cosmetic accessory. You as well, Naruto-sama, Ravel-sama, she said, bowing her head respectfully to them. While his parents were greeting her, Naruto turned to Ravel and asked with a quiet tone, who is she, Ravel? Oh, she is Graphia Lucifuge, the head maid of the Gremory clan, and the queen of Surzich's Lucifer. Naruto widened his eyes at that. She is known as the strongest queen of the underworld, and her power is on par with a demon king. At first glance, Naruto already knew that this woman was extremely powerful, as the amount of power he could feel from her was way more than his brother Ruvel, who was known to be the current strongest member of their clan. She was strong, but Naruto was sure that she was nowhere near as strong as most villains Naruto met in his life. The strongest queen. Naruto couldn't help but glance at Yubaluna. She would definitely like it more than her current nickname, the Bomb Queen. Please follow me, Lord Gremory and everyone are waiting, Graphia said and led them into the house. Waiting for them inside was a group of people, which led a middle-aged looking man wearing an odd-looking costume that was very similar to what his father was wearing. He had bright blue eyes and long crimson red hair that was tied in a loose ponytail with a black hairband. He also had a short and red stubble. Beside him, wearing a white dress and arm-length gloves, was a beautiful and attractive woman, appearing to be in her mid-20s or even younger than that, with shoulder-length brown hair and purple eyes. The two of them must be Lord and Lady Gremory. There was also a handsome young man, having the appearance of a man in his early 20s with shoulder-length crimson red hair and blue-green eyes much like the man, but with a face greatly resembled the woman. Naruto knew this man since he already saw him on a newspaper he read a few days ago. He was Surzich's Lucifer, formerly Surzich's Gremory, one of the 4 leaders of Devil faction. And last but not least, the girl who would become the central point tonight with him, Rya's Gremory. Not trying to be a pedophile or anything, but in his opinion, Rya's beauty and cuteness were particularly illegal for a girl her age. The most eye-catching, most distinctive feature of Rya's was her long beautiful crimson hair that reached all the way down to her thighs, with a single hair strand sticking out from the top. Her hair also had loose bangs covering her forehead and side bangs framing her face. She was wearing a dark-colored dress with matching gloves and black boots, framing her rapidly growing body nicely. Now he knew why Naruto Phoenix was so eager to marry her. This girl was going to be a true heartbreaker in the future. Hell, she could even become the most beautiful and attractive woman he had ever met in his life. Lucifer-sama, it's my honor. The Phoenix family side bowed their head at the presence of the Crimson Demon King. Naruto stood still at first, but Ravel grabbed his collar to pull his head down in a bow, much to his annoyance. It's good to see you again, everyone. Surzicha smiled at them. Lord Phoenix. The crimson-haired man stepped forward and offered both of his hands out. "It's an honor to have you come here to have dinner with us." "Please, Lord Gremory, the honor is all mine." Lord Gremory smiled as he took his hands, and the men shared a friendly handshake. "Vanillana-san, it's good to see you again." He took Vanillana's hand and placed a kiss on the back of her hand, while Lord Gremory did the same to his wife. "Rias, honey," Vanillana turned around and called her daughter, who then stepped forward and stood next to her mother. Raven also did the same to her son, by motioning him to step forward. Now he was face to face with Rias, and he didn't need his power or to be a genius to know just how much she disliked him. It was pretty much written all over her face. He could also see that she didn't want to be here at all. "Good evening, Rias." Naruto decided to open up first because Rias looked like she wasn't going to say or do anything that involved him, unless her mother said so. "Hello, Naruto." She greeted him curtly. Ahem, seeing the tension between the two of them, Lord Gremory cleared his throat and spoke up. "I guess we're all hungry, aren't we? So, let's get to the dining room so we can have dinner together." Line break. On the round dining table, Naruto and Rias were sitting on the seats next to each other, but they hadn't talked a single word to each other. Rias, who was acting like he didn't exist at all, was enjoying her meal like a true high-class lady, which she was, with exceptional table manner. But Naruto, on the other hand, was still getting used to eating slowly and soundlessly. When the business talk of the men was over, it was time to talk about their children, including their future together. "So Naruto, it was Sursages who talked to Naruto first. I heard that you were sick. Are you feeling okay now?" "Yep, feel a lot better now." The adult, even Rias, were a little taken aback by the lack of respect in the way Naruto was talking to Sursages. "Thank you, Sursages-sama," he quickly added when he saw a certain meaningful look from his mother, something the mothers used to warn their children about their behavior. Mentally, Raven wasn't his mother, but for some reasons, he couldn't stop himself from getting a little nervous at that motherly glare, just like how a normal child would when he saw that kind of look from his mother. Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki was his real parent, the one who had sacrificed their life so he could live. He loved them with all his heart, but Naruto knew that he was slowly coming to love Lord and Lady Phenix, as if they were his real parent, especially Raven Phenix, who spent more times with Naruto than her husband. "I see." Sursages nodded his head with a smile. The flu also left an after effect, Lucifer-sama. Raven spoke up. "He has amnesia and is still recovering." "Well, that will explain the differences." Lord Gremory leant in and asked in amusement, "Naruto-kun, what can you remember? Do you remember my daughter?" "To tell you the truth, Lord Gremory, I didn't even remember that I had a fiancé until Kasama told me." Naruto answered, "My queen is helping me remember everything, so to say I literally forgot myself is an understatement." As if something like that could actually happen, Rias muttered under her breath, but with Devil's hearing, they could all hear her. "Excuse me," Naruto turned to her, "you have a problem with me?" She didn't answer his question. Instead, she turned her head away with a huff. Sigh, Rias Vanillana decided to speak up before her daughter could embarrass herself, and her family more. "Since you already finished your dishes, how about you take Naruto a tour around our house? I am sure that he will want to get to know Gremory residence once again, don't you Naruto?" "I would love to, Vanillana-san." A tour around her house with Rias. It was exactly what he needed to get this night better. The two of them left the dining room before Rias started leading Naruto around Gremory residence, remaining completely silent all the while. As he was following behind Rias and trying to keep his eyes busy with her palace, Naruto couldn't help but get a little uncomfortable, mostly because of the tensed atmosphere between the two of them. Rias, he decided to break the silence when the two of them was walking through the hallways of the first floor. "Alright, what are you playing, Naruto?" Rias suddenly turned around and glared up at him. Since Naruto was way taller than her, "You can fool anyone, but you cannot fool me with your act." She pointed at him. "I know you, don't try to play dumb." "Well, consider that we only met once before, you cannot know me that well." A slight smile then appeared on his face as he looked down at her. "Unless, you truly care about me, unlike how you appear to be. Don't say nonsense things like that." Rias' cheeks reddened a little. "I already told you before, but let me remind you Naruto, I won't marry you," she said with a strong tone. "If I'm the next heiress for the House of Gremory, I have the right to choose who will become my husband. Our families, on the other hand, don't believe so. My father, mother, brother, and everyone in the clan is rushing it, but there is still plenty of times for me to talk them out of it." Rias said, "It was a promise that I will be free until I graduate from university in the human world." She pointed her hand at him again. "You two, aren't you have enough girls to play around with? I'm sure that Yubeluna or even the other two will die in happiness if you ask any of them to become your wife. Isn't she your favorite girl?" A tick mark appeared on his forehead as Rias threw words at him like a machine gun. So, when Rias was about to turn away, Naruto reached his hand out and grabbed the back of Rias' dress, and effortlessly lifted her up much to her surprise. "Hey! What are you doing?" Rias cried out in surprise. "Put me down this instant," she shouted at him when Naruto turned her around and glared into her eyes. "Alright, listen here brat. Do not talk about my servant that way, understand? Naruto raised his voice as Rias crossed her arms over her chest and huffed angrily. I don't care how much of an asshole I was in the past. What matters now is that I'm trying to fix it and make a better person out of myself. You think I like this idea that much? Marry a spoiled Oji-sama like you? Give me a break, Gremory. Naruto returned her glare with his own. He had to give her credit for not backing down from his glare, though. Either she was very angry and brave or just too stubborn to stop glaring at him. If anything, I want to marry a girl that I love and loves me back unconditionally. What kind of amnesia is this? Well, the kind you have never seen before, but didn't you say that I was just pretending? Naruto asked. You want to cancel this marriage engagement? So am I, but our parents seem like they don't want to do it. However, like you said, you still have more than 10 years to convince them. He put her down to the ground, but this time you won't have to do it alone. I will try to talk my parent out of that idea too, since they are the ones who start this engagement. I'm sure that I will have the better chance than you. Rias widened her eyes a little at that. Never in a million years she would think she could hear those words from Naruto. Who are you and what did you do to Naruto Phenix? Rias asked suspiciously. Naruto nearly laughed at the irony of her question. Anyway, we should increase our chance by working on this together. Naruto then brought out his hand. I talked to my parent, and you do the same to yours. It will be a win-win for both of us. Deal? She looked at his hand for a second before smiling. Deal? Rias took his hand and shook it. Now, this was exactly what she was waiting for. You're not acting, aren't you? Rias took her hand back and smiled at him. I hope you will lose your memories forever. I can't help but admit that your attitudes are much more enjoyable than your past self. That is the second time in one day someone has told me that I better lost my memories forever. Get used to it, Rias said, because I'm sure that you will hear it a lot more often from now on. I sure will. Excuse me. Can you wrap those cakes for me, please? Naruto asked the chefs of his family, pointing his hands to the set of cakes that were about to be served to the devils at the party. It was 8 in the evening, and the party to celebrate his promotion was still going. Many devils arrived to congratulate Naruto. He stayed there for a few hours, accepting as many praises as possible, before sneaking away from the party. 4 cakes should be enough. It wasn't like he didn't want to be there, but he had better thing to do than sitting still, and letting the lower ranks households show him their good attitudes in order to ingratiate him, as well as his parent. Something like that happened every day. Many devils had tried to take advantage of these parties to flatter the children of Phoenix family, in order to get to the current leaders. The support of Phoenix household was something many devils desired, as they were one of the highest ranked household, as well as the only source of Phoenix tears, which wasn't very cheap to begin with. And so, he used stealth and sneaked into the kitchen as soon as he got the chance to. Yubaluna was there to handle things so he didn't have to worry about anything. Yes, Naruto-sama. The chefs bowed their head to him before hurriedly did what they were asked to do, putting delicious-looking cakes into boxes, and finished decorating them by wrapping the colorful papers around the box. Here you go, Naruto-sama. The head chef said as he hanged the third son of Phoenix the box, which Naruto took it with a smile. Thank you. If you ever need anything, feel free to return, Naruto-sama. The blonde nodded his head as the head chef's words. I will, see you guys later, and with that, he left the kitchen. As soon as the door was closed behind him, Naruto heard a voice. Didn't enjoy the party. That voice unmistakably belonged to his fiancée's, Rias Gremory. The girl was at the party with her family, but Naruto was too busy to talk with her alone. There were a lot of people there after all. She looked as beautiful as always, with crimson red hair and bright green eyes. Did you? Naruto turned around and asked Rias, who shook her head. You know that everyone know we're fiancés, right? Rias scoffed slightly at that. The future wife of Naruto Uzumaki, youngest ultimate class devil in the history. How great she had become. I know how that feel, Naruto said, in a different way of course. He quickly added before she could get the wrong idea. I know. Rias stepped forward and stood beside him. So, ultimate class devil, huh? I didn't get to say this at the party, but congratulations. Thank you. Naruto smiled with a nod of his head though. I will enjoy it more if I have that title of your cousin. What is his name again? Saryark, but unfortunately, you not belong to our generation. Rias said, you're not even called Rookie. Yep, how unfortunate. Naruto shrugged before starting heading out, with Rias following closely beside him. How did you find me? He was sure that his stealth was absolutely perfect. He secretly trained every day to keep his shinobi skills sharp, so there was no way he was getting rusty. I used my familiar to search for you. Rias answered, I was looking for you, but Yubaluna said you had something else to do. I see, Naruto nodded. Was it about our engagement? The reason you wanted to meet me, I mean. Yeah, what else do you think? Rias asked, crossing her arms. Any luck? She saw Naruto shook his head, and couldn't help but sigh in disappointment. Me neither. Can't say I am surprised. Naruto said with a voice full of sarcasm. My parents said they didn't want me to regret my decision after getting my memories back, which I doubt I ever will. He turned his head to her. If the two of us were engaged in a better, different situation, I doubt I would mind marrying someone like you. You're hot, that for sure. Don't joke like that, it is not funny. Rias punched him in the arm, her cheek reddened a little. Sorry, haha, can't help it. He laughed her turned to the party princess. Before your parent get worried. I doubt they're going to feel worry if they know I'm going with you, Rhea said sarcastically, glad that he had changed the topic. Where are you going with them anyway? Visiting a friend and her sister. Naruto said before turning to Rias. Since you are already here and don't want to return to the party, want to come with me? We can use another mouth if you're into sweets. You sure? Yeah, they're very friendly, and don't get many visitors like you. Naruto smiled. Okay. Rias nodded her head. Lead the way then. It didn't take them long to get there, with only 10 minutes of traveling by foot, after using a teleportation circle to transport themselves from Phoenix territory to a local city of the underworld. It was a simple one-story house, painted a violent and stunning amaranthine, dabbled with bubbles of sea green foam. The front door was quaint, homey and friendly as a small grinning cat sitting on the porch outside waved one of its hands as a welcoming gesture into the residency. Naruto, Rias turned to her unwanted fiancés, but the blonde walked through the front yard and stood in front of the door, reaching his hand out to press the doorbell's button. Shirane, can you answer the door for me please NYA? They all heard a feminine voice inside the house. Hi. Answered the voice of a girl, appeared to be much younger than the former. Nai? Rias asked in confusion. Cat's meow? The she-cat. Nekomata, Nekashu to be specific, you know, Yaokai. Rias nodded her head in understanding. But what are you doing with someone like that? Rias asked with an annoyed tone. Moreover, what is she to you? But Rias never got Naruto to answer her question, because one of the owners of the house finally opened the door for them. It was a cute girl, probably no older than 10 or 11 years of age, with shoulder-length white hair and hazel eyes, with pupils appearing to be more cat-like. There were also 2 cat ears covered in soft white fur on top of her head. So cute, Rias thought inside of her head while gulping slightly. This girl cuteness was basically illegal. She wanted nothing more than to throw herself at the younger girl and hug her, never letting her go. She is so cute. She couldn't help but coo gently. Good evening Shirane-chan. Naruto greeted the young girl with a toothy grin. Ani-chan. The young girl squealed out excitedly and threw herself at him. For a short petite girl who was barely 12-year-old, she was extremely strong with a bone-crushing hug. If Naruto wasn't used to the amount of force she usually used to launch herself at him, he would definitely get knocked down to the ground. Shirane, who Kuroka poked her head out from a room, her eyes whitened slightly before softening with a smile. Oh, it's you Naruto-sama NYA. Kuroka walked out of the room and greeted him with a bow. Unlike her usual attire, the black Nekashu was wearing a simple white shirt, stretched to the limit because of her enormous bust, with short skirt, with a pink apron tied around her waist. It seemed she was working in the kitchen. It's a pleasure to meet you too, Rias Gremory-sama. You know me? Rias asked in surprise. Are you really asking that, Gremory? Naruto asked with a chuckle. Your hair's color, Rias-sama NYA. Kuroka giggled. And of course, everyone know you. Oh? Rias chuckled sheepishly while putting her hand on her head. It was oblivious that everyone know about her. As Shirane released Naruto and let him pat her head, Kuroka couldn't help but ask, to what do I owe the honor of getting 2 high-class, pureblood devils visit my house? Just using a free evening to pay you girls a visit. Naruto then pointed to Rias, and she didn't have anything to do either, so I took her with me. That's right. Rias nodded her head. I see. Kuroka then turned to Naruto. I heard that you was promoted to ultimate class devil this morning. Naruto-sama, congratulations. Thanks Kuroka. He then brought the bag he was holding up. I brought you 2 some cakes. Want to enjoy them with me? Shirane's eyes shone with excitement at the mention of cakes. Cakes? Is it for me? Yep. Naruto nodded and kneeled down on one knee to her eye level. Tell you what, I will let you keep this. You can share them with anyone you want. He gave her the bag, making the white Nekashu smile and nod her head rapidly. Please, come in. Kuroka stepped out of the way to make a path for her visitors, as her sister ran back into the house. Make yourself at home, Naruto-sama, Rias-sama. Then I will help myself then. Naruto smiled and walked ahead of Rias, heading into the house behind the excited Shirane. Kuroka looked at Rias and saw that she was looking around while taking her shoes off. I think this might get a little uncomfortable to you Rias-sama, but I hope you will enjoy my humble place NYA. Oh, don't worry, Kuroka, right? The black Nekashu nodded her head. Your house is very nice. I must admit, it is livelier than mine. I'm not too sure about that, but thanks NYA. As Rias and Kuroka moved into the dining room, Naruto had already sat at the dining table with Shirane sitting on the chair next to him, 2 dishes with 2 slices of cake already on the table before them. In the little girl's hands were knife and fork, and she was impatiently kicking her legs around. Shirane, Kuroka put her hands on her hip and glared slightly at her sister. You need to eat something first before eating sweet. Her sister pouted, pursing her lower lip out. But I want to eat cake with Naruto Nai-chan already. Kuroka turned her head to Naruto. Ah, don't look at me like that. Naruto brought his hands out in defense. She worked quick. Please Nisama. Shirane sent her sister a hopeful tone. Since she was a Nekashu, a cat yokai, the words puppy dog eyes couldn't use to describe the eyes she was giving her sister, but it was very close to that. Alright, 1 slice only. Kuroka nodded her head, but extra vegetables later. Shirane pouted again at her sister's words, making Rias, who was standing next to her, giggle. No but, Shirane. Alright. The white cat girl nodded her head before turning to Naruto. Let's eat Oni-chan, she said cheerily. After you, Shirane-chan. As Naruto and Shirane happily enjoyed the slices of cake together, Kuroka walked to the cooking area and continued her work on their dinner. Now that Naruto had arrived, with Rias with him, she was sure that she would have to cook something more to both of them. It wasn't the first time Naruto came to visit her though. Can I help you, Kuroka? Rias stepped forward, removing the gloves she was wearing. I'm not sure NYA. Don't worry, I might be an Oju-sama. She grabbed the knife Kuroka put on the cutting board and skillfully cut the onion. But I know how to cook. Ka-sama taught me the basic, so that one day I could cook for my husband. I improved myself from there. Cook for me you mean? Naruto teased. He was impressed, to say the least. He would never expect anything like that from a high-class princess like her. Sure, Aval could bake some really delicious cake, but other than that, you're saying? Rias asked with an evil smile, bringing the knife up which glinted dangerously. You can't die, so I won't hesitate in using this. That was no empty threat. There was time when she blasted his face open, nearly took his head off with that power of destruction of her, just because he believed she didn't have the gut to do so. It hurt like hell, but his face healed not a second later. That was when Naruto learned just how dangerous this girl was. Relax, I was just kidding. Naruto said, paling a little. Geez, put that away, there is a child here. Naruto said, pointing to Shirane who was happily eating her slice of cake. If I didn't know that you two are lovers. No, we're not, both Naruto and Rias said at once. Surprise, Kuroka, back to your food, Yakitori. Rias glared at him before turning to Kuroka. We're fiancés, yes, but we're not lovers. Our families engaged the two of us together. The two of us are trying to talk our parent out of it, I see. Kuroka nodded her head, but you two do look like one NYA. Kuroka giggled teasingly. Anyway, Kuroka, Rias tried to change the topic. How did you know Naruto? Are you one of his past victims? Hey? She asked, ignored Naruto's words. Actually yes, Shirane is actually our daughter together. He knocked me up when we were still primary school children. NYA. Naruto choked on his cake, which wasn't even possible, while Rias dropped the knife she was holding, her eyes and mouth wide agape. Shirane only looked on in confusion. Yufufu, relax, Rias-sama. I was just kidding. NYA. Kuroka giggled, using her hand to cover her mouth. Don't say thing like that, that is an order from a high-class devil. Rias stuttered in embarrassment. The two of us met when my master brought me to his house to introduce me. Kuroka said Naruto-sama and my master were best friend. Were? Rias turned around and looked at Naruto. Long story, was his simple answer. I see, Rias nodded her head. So you're a devil then? Who's your master? His name is Valor Vapula, and I'm his bishop. Vapula? Rias asked in surprise. Vapula was the clan where her cousin's mother, Sariarg's mother, came from. The clan of lion tamers. You sound surprised, Naruto asked. Long story, was her simple answer. He is a bad man. Shirane said loudly. I don't like him. It's alright, you have Oni-chan here to protect you. Naruto smiled and rubbed the girl's head. Shirane smiled at him. Anyway, we talked and Naruto-sama said if I could come to him if I ever needed anything. Well, I didn't really need his help, but Kuroka looked around the house. Aside from the house itself, everything in this house were his gifts for us. Even Shirane's tuition, our clothes, our foods. Kuroka trailed off. I could effort them all in a few months of devil jobs, but my master kept me from doing my devil jobs to earn money, forcing me to train every single day to increase my power. Kuroka then smiled. If it not for Naruto-sama, I don't think we can have a life like this. I didn't know. Rias smiled softly as stopped her hands. But do you know why you that hard? Valor is a prideful devil. He don't train and will do the same thing to his servants. He will definitely trade you away the moment he realizes that you're weak. I don't know. Kuroka shook her head. I believed I was going to be traded away sooner or later, but for some reason, he still keeps me around after all this time. Kuroka said, many male devils love to have an attractive cat girl in their peerage, a personal harem, so they asked him to trade, but not even Naruto-sama, who was his best friend, was able to convince him in trading me. And since that guy clearly doesn't have any romantic interest to Kuroka, it is getting very suspicious. Naruto stated calmly, Kuroka's power already surpassed her own master in terms of magical power alone. I tell you, that is some crazy power up right there. I see. Rias said softly. Kuroka could only shrug. She only wished that Naruto was the one who found her that day. Even though he was a prideful, typical high-class, pureblood devil in the past, he still loved his servants very much, unlike Valor. Shirane's life was stabilized now. As long as her sister was happy and had a bright future ahead, she didn't care what was going to happen to her, even if it meant that she had to push herself beyond her limit every day. If only the evil peace system has a cancel mode, right? Naruto wondered out loud, drawing Rias and Kuroka's attention to him like, when you truly don't want to be his servant anymore, you only need to wish for it, and bang, you're no longer his servant and have your freedom back. You can choose whatever you want to do afterward. Ibeluna, Shulin and Carloman were a very different story. Their loyalty to him was extraordinary. They were more than happy to serve him and obey all of his orders, do whatever he told them to do without a second thought. But Naruto had seen many low-class servants struggled with their master's orders, trying to please them, only to be treated like mere insects. He could feel all of their sadness, their anger. The moment the evil piece was used, he or she would forever bound it to the one who turned them, the master, with no way of turning back. That was one of many things he hated about this system and its creator for making it like that. If only there was something like a cancel mode in the evil piece system. We also needed that matter and that matter as well. Rias nodded her head like, the former master is not allowed to hold any grudge against, or do anything to harm them because of what they choose to do. They must respect his or her decision, also provide the necessary provisos, so that he or she can move on to the future. Naruto grinned at Rias. Grimory was famous for their exceptional affections to their servants, so it was only natural for Rias to agree with him and come up with something like that. But unfortunately, not many devils were like her though. Only a minority of pure-blood devils truly respected their servants, let alone loved them like their family. Okay, enough with the down mood Nya. Said cheerfully as she placed the foods on the dishes. There were many fishes and all of them smelled delicious, appearing to be very well made. I hope you're still hungry, Rias-sama, Naruto-sama, because I made a lot of foods right here. Let me help. Rias smiled and brought the dishes to the counter to their table. This kind of dinner could never compare to the party being held at Phoenix residence, but it was truly heartwarming for them, especially Rias. Shirane had taken a liking to the crimson-haired girl, even sharing her cake to Rias when they finished the main dishes. Time like this reminded Naruto of his life at his old world, where he would sit down and have a simple, normal dinner with his family, with the ones he cared deeply for. Break, so fun. Rias said with a dreamy smile as she and Naruto teleported back to his house. It was pretty late in the night, the party must be over at this time. Naruto and Rias decided to return after dinner was over, as they didn't want to make their parent worry or get any funny ideas about their relationship. Those two are so cute, especially Shirane-chan. I'm glad that you like them. Naruto smiled. Shirane and Kuroka seriously need a new friends with the same gender. I know that there are things they cannot share with a boy like me. What do they call it again? Girls talk. AW, sensitive aren't you? Rias teased, nudging him slightly with her elbow. I think that is something I should expect from a former womanizer. I'm not a cold-hearted bastard, you know. Naruto said, there are many people like them out there, and the amount of money I poured into nightclubs and chicks in a single night can basically feed all of them and keep them warm in a year. Providing Kuroka and Shirane-chan with the necessary is the least I can do for them. I only wish I could do more. You have already done more than enough for them, Naruto, Rias said softly and put a hand on his shoulder. They're living a happy life, thanks to you. I know, Naruto nodded his head before turning to Rias. Say Rias, can you ask your brother do something about Valor, or at least ask him to find out what is he trying to do with Kuroka. That guy was getting on his nerve with the amount of harsh training he pushes Kuroka through. She was no machine and had a sister to take care at night. I will see what I can do. Rias nodded her head before looking down, getting a little uncomfortable with what she was about to say. Well, you know, tomorrow is my birthday. Really? Naruto asked in surprise. I forgot, I think. I was wondering if you want to come to my birthday party. Everyone is going to be there. Rias snapped her head to him and said loudly, and don't get any funny idea, my parent is going to invite you and your family anyway. Yeah, I know. Naruto chuckled. No need to react like that. He pointed at her forehead, lowered himself down a little. You as well, try not to get any funny idea. I'm not going to marry you, that for sure. Well, I'm not going to marry you either. Rias huffed and crossed her arms. Don't worry, brat, I will be there with your presents. Naruto then became deep in thought. Maybe I will bring a camel, so you can ride on him. Ria's face lost its color the moment he mentioned about camel. Her greatest fear relaxed. I was just kidding. Don't say thing like that, Rias stuttered. That is not funny. Naruto couldn't help but laugh at that. Break. Kuroka was sleeping soundly with her sister lying next to her on the bed they shared together, until the sound of the doorbell woke her up from her sleep. It was 3 in the morning, too early for a visitor. But nevertheless, she quickly moved to answer the door. Alisama, Nya. To say she was surprised to find her master standing outside was an understatement. What are you doing here? She asked. Kuroka, can I have a word with you? The man asked, and before she could answer, he walked into the house while looking around. Where is your sister, Shirane? She is sleeping, of course, Nya. Kuroka said after turning the light up, trying not to get furious at him. Well, wake her up, I want to meet her as well. Kuroka was confused, but shook her head. She is asleep, but before she could say it, Valor suddenly walked to her and grabbed a fistful of her long black hair, using it to pull her head back, making her cry out in pain. Are you trying to deny me, you naughty cat? He asked with a sly smile. Go wake your sister up. He repeated once again, and released her hair. Yes, the black Nekashu nodded her head and went to call her sister. Tonight was the night their life changed forever. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. and also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.